Ever wonder what it feels like when your own family stabs you in the back for money? Like, not strangers, not some random coworker, but your actual blood? Your brother? Your stepmom? The people who sat at your dad's funeral pretending to cry while secretly planning how to rob you blind? Yeah, that was my life 6 months ago. But here's the thing they didn't count on. I'm my father's daughter, and I don't play games. I end them. Hey everyone, I'm Madison Cooper, but everyone calls me Maddie. I'm 32, living in LA, and if you're watching this, smash that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me where you're from. I read every single one, and trust me, you're gonna wanna stick around for this story because the twist? Chef's kiss. Let me take you back to the day my world fell apart. It was a Tuesday morning in March when my dad died. Heart attack at 58, completely out of nowhere. 1 minute he's playing golf at Riviera Country Club, the next minute he's gone. My dad, Robert Cooper, was a self-made real estate developer in Los Angeles. Started with nothing, built an empire worth over $8 million. Strip malls, apartment complexes, commercial properties all over Southern California. He was tough, smart, and honestly, he was my hero. My mom died when I was 12, cancer. Dad remarried 3 years later to Diane, this perfectly polished woman from Newport Beach with fake everything, fake smile, fake concern, fake love. But Dad seemed happy, so I dealt with it. Then came Tyler, my half-brother, born when I was 16. Dad absolutely spoiled that kid. Private schools, sports cars, an Amex black card at 18. Meanwhile, I worked my ass off, college loans, 2 jobs, built my own marketing career from scratch because Dad believed in earning it. I respected that. I didn't need handouts. But when Dad died, I expected things to be fair. The funeral was at Forest Lawn, the fancy one where celebrities get buried. Over 300 people showed up, business partners, old friends, employees. Diane played the grieving widow perfectly, designer black dress, tasteful tears, the whole performance. Tyler stood next to her looking solemn in his Tom Ford suit, the one Dad bought him for his 21st birthday. I stood alone on the other side, actually grieving. After the service, Diane pulled me aside. "Sweetie, we need to talk about your father's affairs," she said, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. "I know this is hard, but there are decisions to make." "Okay," I said. "When are we meeting with Dad's lawyer?" Actually, Richard already reached out. "We're meeting Friday at his office. Just, prepare yourself, Maddie. Your father made some unexpected choices." The way she said it made my stomach turn, but I was too numb to process the warning. Friday came. Richard Morrison's law office was in Century City, all glass and marble and expensive furniture. Dad had used him for 20 years. I'd met him at family dinners, holiday parties. I trusted him. Diane and Tyler were already there when I arrived, sitting together on one side of the conference table. That should have been my first red flag, but grief makes you stupid. Richard cleared his throat. "Thank you all for coming. I know this is difficult, so I'll be direct. Robert's will was updated 6 months ago. The bulk of the estate, approximately $6.8 million in properties and assets, goes to Diane as his surviving spouse." I nodded. That made sense legally. However, Richard continued, there are specific bequests. Tyler receives the Corona Del Mar Beach house, valued at $2.1 million, plus a $500,000 cash distribution. My heart started pounding. "And for Madison." Richard paused, glancing at Diane. "Your father left you his personal effects, photo albums, and a $25,000 cash gift." I literally laughed. Like, out loud. Because it had to be a joke. "I'm sorry, what? $25,000? My dad built an $8 million empire and left me 25 grand and some photo albums?" Diane's face arranged itself into practiced sympathy. "Maddie, honey, I know this is shocking. But your father felt that since you'd been so independent, so insistent on making your own way, that you didn't need. Didn't need what? I cut her off. My own father's support? His acknowledgement? Tyler gets over $2 million and he's never worked a day in his life, and I get pocket change? Your father made his wishes clear, Richard said firmly. The will is legally sound. Tyler hadn't said a word, just sat there scrolling his phone like this was boring him. That's when I knew. Something was wrong. Really wrong. My dad and I talked every week. He was proud of my independence, yeah, but he wouldn't cut me out. He wouldn't leave me scraps while handing Tyler millions. This wasn't right. I stood up. I want a copy of that will. And I want to see the previous versions. Richard's eye twitched. Just barely, but I saw it. That's not standard procedure. I don't give a damn about standard procedure, I said. My father just died, the math isn't mathing, and I'm not walking out of here until I get answers. Diane touched my arm. Maddie, you're grieving. You're not thinking clearly. Let's not make this ugly. I pulled my arm away. Too late. It's already ugly. And if you think I'm just gonna roll over and accept this, you don't know me at all. I walked out of that office with $25,000 I didn't want and a gut feeling that my own family had just screwed me over. What I didn't know yet was how deep the betrayal went, or how perfectly I was about to destroy them both. I didn't sleep for 3 days after that meeting. Something was off, and I couldn't let it go. My dad loved me. I knew he loved me. He wouldn't just erase me from his life's work over some independence bullshit. So I started digging. First stop was Dad's house in Pacific Palisades, the one he'd owned for 20 years. Diane had already moved back in, acting like the queen of the castle. I still had my key. Dad gave it to me when I turned 18 and never asked for it back. I waited until Tuesday afternoon when I knew Diane had her standing Pilates class in Santa Monica and Tyler would be day drinking at some rooftop bar in West Hollywood. The house felt empty without Dad. I walked through rooms full of his stuff, his books, his golf clubs, his ridiculous collection of vintage watches. Everything reminded me he was gone, and it hurt like hell. But I wasn't there to cry. I was there for answers. Dad's home office was on the second floor, overlooking the canyon. I booted up his computer, and of course it was password protected. But I knew my dad. He used the same password for everything, a combination of my mom's birthday and their anniversary. Boomers, am I right? I was in. His email was a goldmine. I started scrolling back through the past year, looking for anything about the will, estate planning, anything. That's when I found it, an email from 8 months ago to Richard Morrison. Richard, Diane's been on me again about updating the will. I'm not doing it. Maddie gets half of everything when I'm gone, Tyler gets the other half, and Diane gets the spousal protections we discussed. That's final. Stop asking. My hand started shaking. Half of everything. Not 25 grand. Half of an $8 million estate. I kept scrolling. 6 months ago, another email, this time from Richard. Robert, per our conversation, I've drafted the updated documents as discussed. Please review and we'll schedule a signing. But there was no reply from Dad. Nothing. Then 5 months ago, an email from Diane to Richard. I only saw it because Dad was CC'd, probably by accident. Richard, he's being stubborn. We need to move forward with Plan B. Can you handle your end? I'll handle mine. Plan B? What the hell was Plan B? I screenshot everything, sent copies to my personal email, and kept digging. In Dad's file cabinet, I found copies of previous wills. The most recent one, dated 2 years ago, was exactly what Dad's email said, 50% to me, 50% to Tyler, spousal provisions for Diane. Clean, fair, exactly what I expected. But according to Richard, there was a new will from 6 months ago that basically cut me out. A will I could find no evidence of Dad actually agreeing to. My phone buzzed. A text from Tyler. Yo sis, heard you've been asking questions about the will. Let it go. Dad made his choice. Don't be bitter. Bitter? This little punk who'd never earned a damn thing in his life was calling me bitter? I texted back. Dad made his choice. Or Diane made it for him? 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Then nothing. He'd gone silent. That night, I did what any millennial would do. I started Googling. How to prove will fraud California. Forged signatures on legal documents. Undue influence estate law. Turns out, if someone manipulates or forces a person to change their will, especially near death, it's illegal as hell. And if someone forges documents or signatures? That's straight up fraud. Felony fraud. I needed proof. Real, undeniable proof. The next morning, I hired a private investigator. Not some random dude from Craigslist, a legit former FBI guy named Marcus Chin who specialized in financial crimes and document fraud. Cost me $5,000 upfront, money I definitely didn't have to spare, but I didn't care. I need you to find out if my dad's signature was forged on his will, I told him. And I need to know what my stepmom and the lawyer have been hiding. Marcus looked at the documents I'd brought. This is gonna take a few weeks, maybe a month. But if there's fraud here, I'll find it. Find it, I said. Because I'm about to burn their whole world down. What Marcus found 3 weeks later was even worse than I imagined, and it gave me everything I needed to destroy them. Marcus called me on a Wednesday morning, 4 weeks after I hired him. Maddie, we need to meet. In person. You're gonna want to sit down for this. We met at a coffee shop in Culver City, one of those hipster places where nobody from my dad's world would ever go. Marcus slid a thick manila envelope across the table. Open it, he said. Inside were documents, photos, bank statements, and a forensic handwriting analysis report. The first page made my blood run cold. The signature on the revised will dated 6 months ago does not match Robert Cooper's authenticated signature samples. Probability of forgery, 94%. They forged my dad's signature. Diane and Richard actually forged legal documents to steal my inheritance. There's more, Marcus said, flipping to a bank statement. 3 days after your father's funeral, Diane transferred $340,000 from your dad's personal account into a joint account with Tyler. 2 weeks later, she moved another $500,000 into an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. I stared at the numbers. They're liquidating his assets before anyone can stop them. Exactly. And check this out. He showed me emails he'd somehow obtained between Diane and Richard. I didn't ask how he got them, plausible deniability and all that. The first email was from 7 months ago, right after Dad's email saying he wouldn't change the will. Diane to Richard, he's refusing again. We can't wait anymore. Tyler needs that beach house now, he's got debts I can't cover. You said you could handle the paperwork without him if necessary. Do it. Richard's response, it's risky. If anyone challenges this, we could face serious legal consequences. Are you sure? Diane, Robert's health has been declining. Everyone knows he's been forgetful lately. If anyone asks, we'll say he signed it during one of his good days and just didn't mention it to Madison. She's been distant anyway. No one will question it. My hands clenched into fists. My dad wasn't forgetful. He was sharp as hell right up until the heart attack. But Diane had been planting seeds, telling people he was declining, setting up the narrative. There's more, Marcus said quietly. Tyler's in debt. Like, serious debt. He owes over $300,000 to some very unpleasant people. Gambling, mostly. High-stakes poker games in private clubs, sports betting, the works. Diane's been bailing him out for 2 years, but she ran out of her own money. So they decided to steal mine. Essentially, yes. The beach house alone would cover Tyler's debts and then some. But they got greedy. Why give you half when they could take it all? I sat back, processing everything. My stepmom and half-brother had conspired with our family lawyer to forge my dad's will, steal my inheritance, and cover it up by lying about his mental state. And they almost got away with it. What about Richard? I asked. What's he getting out of this? Marcus pulled out another document. Diane promised him 10% of whatever Tyler inherited. That's over $200,000. Plus, he's been skimming from your dad's estate accounts. Small amounts, $5,000 here, $10,000 there, hoping nobody would notice during probate. So everyone's stealing from my dead father. Pretty much. But here's the good news, you have everything you need to prove it. Forensic evidence of forgery, paper trail of financial fraud, emails showing conspiracy, witness statements from your dad's actual doctor saying he was completely lucid until he died. Marcus leaned forward. Maddie, this is slam dunk. You take this to the probate court, maybe even the district attorney, and these people are done. We're talking felony fraud, conspiracy, maybe even elder abuse charges if we can prove they coerced him while he was alive. I looked at all the evidence spread across the table. 6 weeks ago, I was grieving my father and confused about why he'd cut me out. Now I knew the truth, he didn't cut me out. They erased me. What do you need from me? I asked. A lawyer. A really good one. Someone who specializes in estate litigation and isn't afraid to go scorched earth. I smiled for the first time in weeks. I know exactly who to call. My dad's best friend from college, Patricia Hartman, was one of the top estate litigation attorneys in California. She'd known me since I was a kid, and she'd loved my dad like a brother. When I called her that afternoon and told her everything, her response was immediate. Those bastards. I'm taking this case pro bono, and Maddie? We're not just getting your money back. We're sending them to prison. Patricia moved fast. Within a week, we filed a petition in Los Angeles Superior Court to invalidate the fraudulent will and submitted a criminal complaint to the DA's office. The evidence was airtight, forensic analysis, emails, bank records, everything. But Patricia wanted more than just a legal win. She wanted to destroy them publicly. Here's how this plays out, she explained in her Century City office. We schedule a probate hearing, mandatory attendance for all beneficiaries. Diane and Tyler will show up thinking it's routine. Then we drop the hammer in open court with evidence of fraud. The DA will be there ready to press charges immediately. Won't they lawyer up and run? I asked. Not if they don't see it coming. Right now they think you're just a grieving daughter who accepted her 25 grand and moved on. We keep it that way until the hearing. So I played the part perfectly. I texted Tyler back finally, saying I was sorry for causing drama and I just missed Dad. I even met Diane for lunch in Beverly Hills, pretending to make peace. She actually hugged me, told me she was glad I was being reasonable about everything. The whole time, I wanted to throw my wine in her face. But I smiled, nodded, and let her think she'd won. 2 weeks later, the hearing arrived. I walked into the courthouse downtown wearing my best suit, looking professional and calm. Patricia was already there with Marcus and a representative from the DA's office. Diane showed up in head-to-toe Chanel, looking like she was going to brunch, not court. Tyler strolled in 10 minutes late, AirPods still in his ears. Richard Morrison sat at the attorney's table, looking slightly nervous but still confident. Judge Sandra Martinez called the hearing to order. We're here regarding the estate of Robert Cooper, deceased. Petitioner Madison Cooper is challenging the validity of the will submitted for probate. Richard stood up. Your Honor, this is a waste of the court's time. Mr. Cooper's will is legally sound and was properly executed. His daughter is simply upset about her father's decisions. Actually, Your Honor, Patricia interrupted, standing. We have evidence that the will in question is fraudulent. The signature is forged, and we can prove it. The courtroom went dead silent. Diane's face went white. Tyler finally took out his AirPods. That's a serious accusation, Judge Martinez said. I hope you have substantial proof. We do. Patricia nodded to Marcus, who began distributing copies of the forensic report to the judge, the DA, and opposing counsel. A certified forensic document examiner compared the signature on the disputed will to authenticated samples of Robert Cooper's signature. The conclusion is 94% probability of forgery. Richard was flipping through the report, his hands visibly shaking. There must be some mistake. There's no mistake, Patricia continued. We also have emails between Diane Cooper and Richard Morrison discussing the forgery before it occurred. We have bank records showing Diane liquidating estate assets and hiding money offshore. And we have testimony from Robert Cooper's physician confirming he was completely lucid and never expressed any intention to disinherit his daughter. She placed everything in front of the judge, emails, bank statements, doctor's affidavits, all of it. Judge Martinez read through the documents, her expression growing darker with each page. Finally, she looked up at Diane. Mrs. Cooper, do you have any explanation for these communications? Diane opened her mouth, but nothing came out. She looked at Richard desperately. He was staring at the table, probably calculating how screwed he was. Tyler leaned over and whispered something to Diane. She shook her head frantically. Your Honor, the DA representative stood up. Based on this evidence, the state of California is prepared to file criminal charges against Diane Cooper, Tyler Cooper, and Richard Morrison for fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, and forgery. We request they be taken into custody immediately. That's when Diane lost it. This is insane. Maddie, how could you do this? We're family. I stood up and looked her dead in the eye. Family doesn't steal from each other. Family doesn't forge documents and lie about the dead. You're not my family, Diane. You never were. Two bailiffs approached their table. Richard was already pleading with the DA. Tyler looked like he might actually cry for once in his privileged life. And Diane? She just stared at me with pure hatred. Judge Martinez banged her gavel. The disputed will is hereby invalidated. The previous will dated 2 years ago is reinstated. Mrs. Cooper, Mr. Morrison, you're under arrest. Watching them get handcuffed in that courtroom? Best feeling of my life. The fallout was immediate and absolutely glorious. By that evening, the story was all over the local news. Widow and son arrested for forging will, stealing millions. TMZ picked it up because, LA drama. The headlines were chef's kiss perfect. Diane posted bail within 24 hours, but the damage was done. Her fancy Newport Beach friends dropped her instantly. Her country club membership? Revoked. Tyler's influencer girlfriend who'd been posting about their luxury lifestyle? Dumped him via Instagram story. Iconic, honestly. Richard Morrison was disbarred within 2 weeks pending criminal trial. His law practice collapsed overnight. Turns out when you get caught committing fraud, clients tend to find new representation. Who knew? The criminal trial took 6 months. I sat in that courtroom every single day, watching them squirm. Patricia had recommended I not testify unless absolutely necessary, let the evidence speak for itself. And boy, did it speak. The forensic expert explained in detail how Dad's signature was forged. The FBI agent who examined the offshore accounts traced every dollar Diane tried to hide. Marcus testified about the emails, the conspiracy, all of it. Diane's defense attorney tried the sympathy route. She was a grieving widow, not thinking clearly, influenced by bad advice from her attorney. The jury didn't buy it. 8 days of deliberation. Guilty on all counts. Diane got 4 years in federal prison for fraud and conspiracy. Tyler got 3 years plus 5 years probation. He cried like a baby when they read the verdict. The same kid who'd texted me, "Don't be bitter," was literally sobbing in a courtroom. Richard got 6 years because the judge really hated that an attorney had betrayed his professional ethics. You were entrusted with people's most important legal matters, and you violated that trust for money, Judge Martinez told him. You deserve every day of this sentence. As for the money, the reinstatement of Dad's will meant I got exactly what he wanted me to have. $4 million in assets and properties. Tyler's portion went into a trust he couldn't touch until he completed his prison sentence and repaid all the money they'd stolen. Spoiler alert, he'll probably never see most of it after restitution. I sold most of Dad's properties except the Pacific Palisades house. That one I kept. Walked through every room, cleared out Diane's tacky furniture, and renovated it exactly how Dad would have loved it. Modern but warm, with his vintage watch collection displayed in his office and Mom's photos on every wall. It's mine now. Fully mine. With the money, I started the Robert Cooper Foundation, a non-profit that provides legal assistance to people dealing with estate fraud and elder abuse. Turns out my story wasn't unique, tons of families get screwed by greedy relatives every year. Now I help them fight back. We've helped over 50 families in the past year recover stolen inheritances. Dad would have loved that. 6 months after the trial ended, I got a letter from Diane. Prison stationery, written in her perfect cursive handwriting. Dear Madison, I hope you're happy. You destroyed this family over money. Your father would be ashamed of what you've become. You were always jealous of Tyler and me. This was just revenge. I hope it was worth it. I read it once, laughed, and threw it in the trash where it belonged. Worth it? Absolutely. But here's what Diane never understood, this wasn't about the money. I would have given away every dollar if it meant my dad's final wishes were honored. This was about justice. About making sure the people who betrayed someone I loved faced consequences. About protecting Dad's legacy from parasites who saw him as a paycheck. Tyler sent me a friend request on Instagram last month from prison. Blocked immediately. Some people never learn. As for me, I'm doing better than I ever have. The foundation is growing, I'm financially secure, and I sleep like a baby knowing I did the right thing. Oh, and I'm dating Patricia's nephew, who's honestly amazing and comes from a family that actually values loyalty. Wild concept, I know. So if you take anything from my story, remember this. First, document everything. Always. You never know when you'll need proof. Second, blood doesn't mean loyalty. Just because someone's family doesn't mean they have your best interests at heart. Third, be patient. Revenge is a dish best served cold, in a courtroom, with felony charges on top. And finally, never underestimate the daughter who actually loved her father. We don't forget, and we definitely don't forgive. Now, if this story hit different for you, do me a favor, absolutely smash that like button. Seriously, destroy it. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications because I've got more stories coming and trust me, they're wild. Drop a comment telling me about your own family drama. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted? How did you handle it? I read every single comment and I want to hear your story. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone dealing with family BS right now, someone who needs to know that justice is possible. Check the description for resources on estate fraud and how to protect yourself. And remember, the quiet ones who actually have receipts. We're the most dangerous. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and Diane? If you're watching this from prison, told you I'd win. Game over.